Today, we are officially 100 days away from the calendar start of the 2025 hurricane season. And I know what you're probably thinking. It's still way too early to start talking about that when everybody else is focused on the snow and the cold weather. I love tropical meteorology. It's my bread and butter. So we're going to talk about it just for a smidgen. These are the names for the 2025 hurricane season, and there's some familiar heavy hitters in here. Now, truthfully, I'm already thinking this season's going to be very interesting, and let me show you some of the science behind that. First and foremost, I'd mentioned that the east coast of the United States, from Florida all the way up the eastern seaboard, will be a spot to watch for some potential impacts or just general tropical activity regardless. And you can see, according to the February outlook from our European seasonal forecasting, it's the name at the top, we already have an expected enhanced pocket of tropical cyclone activity right off the Georgia and Carolinas coastline. Another huge factor, which I had the privilege of sitting down with Dr. Phil Klotzbach of Colorado State University, we got to talk ENSO, because you can see we are in La Nina now. We are cranking in La Nina territory. It has been a direct contributor to a lot of the way we've seen winter realized for much of the United States, from the Great Lakes down to us here in Florida. But the Euro seasonal thinks we will go back to an El Nino, a weak El Nino by peak hurricane season. CPC, NOAA, and a lot of our other models like the CFS, the CANCIPS, and the NMME don't feel the same. They think we're going to be in a neutral pattern once again, which could have implications on the tracks and the positioning and the development we see in our tropical cyclones, very reminiscent of what we saw back in 2024. And then last but not least, water temperatures. Now, this is not current. Right now, the Atlantic Basin has cooled pretty systematically in comparison to where we were in 2023 and 2024. And you can actually see it reflected here on the climate forecast system very well. It's the subtropics and the mid-latitudes that I'm really paying close attention to this go-around. If I switch us over to the CANCIPS, the Canadian Seasonal Outlook model, giant warm bubble expected to be in the Atlantic, the subtropical Atlantic, for the peak of the season between August and October. This could have huge implications on our semi-permanent pressure systems that drive the tracks of these systems, as well as where we see general development. This could be very 2023-esque, where we have our Cabo Verde systems, our Cape Verde systems coming off of Africa. We get a little bit of activity in the Gulf and the Caribbean, but we also see a lot of close-to-home development right up against the East coastline, and sporadic sloppy systems that just add to our overall number of named storms across the Atlantic Basin altogether. Y'all remember Don in 2023, hurricane that formed almost up in the mid-latitudes. So we're going to be paying close attention to this. Tune into my YouTube channel, WX Center Nazario, if you want the full lowdown on what my thoughts are